Hey guys, my name is Moon and welcome back for more Witch on the Holy Night. So last time we finished up another episode and yeah, we just continued I guess the conversation between Alice, Aoko, and Sojiro, and of course we've seen more pushback again from Alice with Sojiro being in the mansion, right? So let us continue and let's see what happens today. So we're gonna start, yes, a new episode, I suppose. Are you for real? Is that the title of the episode? We will see. Once, long ago, I saw a beautiful bird fly overhead. Round and round it circled the distant blue sky. How high it flew in this era when humans, not birds, reigned supreme. And yet the bird was completely uninterested in humanity's endless desire for expansion, our creation of even higher homes, or the smoke bellowing from industry chimneys. The sky extends further than the eye can see. It belongs to no one, not now, not then. The bird was a truly noble creature, flapping its wings powerfully across the wild ancient sky. Oh, oh my god. Until the sudden sound of cold iron. A wing is shot, its symmetry gone forever. Cruel and tragic, its body plummets downwards. Not knowing its fate, the bird frantically beats its wings till the very end. One moment soaring with eyes to the sky, the next crashing down to the dry, hardened earth. That is sad. We just started in that. It's just sad. This was the dream I saw. No matter how much I thought about it, its details remained clouded. What did that bird look like, for instance? I mean, didn't you say it's a blue bird? Okay. Chapter
は
7,
い、
Episode
今日の
7?
授業はここまで。試験範囲の総まとめなんかやっちゃいましたけど、これうちのクラスだけですから、よそのクラスには内密にお願いしますね。担任特権と思ってください。ほら、原告の平均点ぐらいは学年一番にしておくと、皆さんも鼻が高いと思いまして。
Mr. Yamashiro chuckled as he finished. So he's finally back. We just saw him in the beginning, right? And then afterwards, yeah, it's been a long time. This was typical of the kind teacher responsible for Year 2 Class C, the master at relaxing his pupils.
先生、口元に本音出てる。鼻を高くしたいのは私たちじゃないですよね。
鼻っていうかメンツですよね。先生、里中先生に嫌味言われてばっかりだし。
つうかはっきり言えばいいんすよ。お前ら頭悪すぎだって。いやまあうちのクラス見事なまでに体育会系ばっかりだけどさ。
いえいえ、テストの点数だけが学生生活ではありませんから、僕から言うべきことは何も。先生方もそこまで目くじら立ててるわけじゃないので、別にクラス全員が赤点でも僕の人生には何ら関わりはないんですけどね。しかし一方では一人厄介な御仁がおりまして、皆さんが選んだ全校生徒代表の方なんですが、これが恐ろしいのなんの。テストの点数が低いのは生徒ではなく教育する側が無能だからです。教育委員会への報告準備はいつでもできていますので、と日夜脅してくるんですよ。それでも生徒たちが治らないようなら、その時は直接私が監督しますとか、生徒としてどうなんですかね、あれ。
The warm atmosphere in the room suddenly fell below freezing. The students at Class C now knew who their true enemy was.
あーそっか、山城先生生徒会の顧問だったっけ。ナムナム。
さすがは応援団を立ち直らせた上傑。教師一人退職に追い込むなど造作もねえ。やっぱりな、会長絶対年サバ読んでるって。あの迫力同年代と思えねえし。ほら、うちの女子と比べると特にこうおっぱい的に。
おっぱい
先生、木の実だけでも A 組に引き取ってもらえませんか？そりゃ男子はみんな猿ですけど、こいつだけレベルの違う猿ですよ、絶対。
あれでも女子 A 組だけどあんまり成績良くねえよな。中の上ぐらいじゃなかったっけ。
そうだけど別にいいんじゃない。塾も行ってないし、生徒会仕切ってたまにバイトまでしてるんだから。あれで学年トップだったら逆に気持ち悪すぎ。
だよな。首位は副会長に任せとけばいいんだよ。
まあまあ皆さん、噂話はそのあたりで。地獄耳という言葉もありますから。じゃあそれなりに復習をよろしく。あんまり点数が悪いと冬休みそのものがなくなりますからね。あ、それとしずきくん、ちょっといいですか。
Mr. Yamashiro gathered his things and beckoned for Sojiro to join him in the hallway. There were no other students to be seen despite it being break time between classes. Voices were audible in the distance, but the hall itself felt strangely quiet and calm. Perhaps it was due to the sense of confinement created by the lack of windows. Usually, students spend their breaks either in their classroom or on the veranda.
何ですか、山城先生。
いえ、そう大した用事じゃないんですけどね。試験前にこんな話をするのもデリカシーがないんですが、気になったので。
Though this level of concern from a teacher startled him, Sojiro felt reassured. It was only natural. After having had to deal with such difficult personalities lately, Mr. Yamashiro's trivial questions were refreshing.
はい、学校の作りや決まりなら自分なりに分かってきました。友達も増えましたし。
そっか、それはよかった。うちのクラスは口の悪い面々だけど、その分気を使わなくていいからね。しずきくんと相性が良くて助かったよ。
Sojiro's eyes shone brightly in appreciation. In Aoko's words, Mr. Yamashiro was a brutish, forgettable, downright detestable man who did not even deserve the title of a teacher, but Sojiro found him considerate in his own way.
アルバイトもほどほどにね。試験前だって言えば大抵のところは休ませてくれるから、あまり無理はしないように。また試験で困ったことがあったら周りに相談しなさい。一人で悩んでいても時間の無駄だよ。ほら、学校っていうのは話し相手にだけは困らないから。
If you have trouble with exams, just ask the other students for help. Really? With a wave of his hand, Mr. Yamashiro was gone. The pure-hearted Sojiro gave him a solemn nod as if to say he accepted the advice of his so-called forgettable teacher and went back into his classroom. And then
女のことで相談だ。
Sojiro had not wasted a moment in putting Mr. Yamashiro's advice into practice. Okay, we got new music now. Honestly, it feels, I mean, we just started this episode, but it feels good. A different good is, what I mean is, because, yeah, we had a lot of battles, and then talking with Aoko, Alice, with Sojiro's situation at the mansion, right? Like, it felt, and it's not sad, but it was a different feeling, I mean. After experiencing all of those, and now we're back I guess, to the normal slice of life days for now, right? Who knows how long this is gonna last? Probably maybe a couple episodes, right? Who knows? But we'll see.
そうらしい。難問にぶち当たっているんだ。深く考えてみて気づいたんだが、どうも自分は発想が貧困らしい。
Sojiro averted his eyes out of shame over his lack of insight.
いや豊かだと思ってたことがびっくりなんだけど。まあいい、こっち来い。
Follow me. Shocked as he was, Kinami grabbed Sojiro by the shoulder and pulled him over to the wall. But yeah, this music, it kind of feels familiar. It's not that I heard it. I think I heard something similar to this music. Yeah. Kinami had nearly burst out laughing when Sojiro, with a straight face, had admitted his difficulty with girls, but he realized it was the first time Sojiro had ever turned to him for advice. Sojiro was always able to break down any task at his part-time jobs into bite-sized pieces, but he was clearly struggling with a different problem now. This was going to take some serious effort.
で、なんかやっちまったのか？ Yo。
Yo.
これからやるのかもしれない。木の実、例えばの話、マッドベアにハリセンボンみたいな女の子が入ってきたとする。その子は俺が嫌いでマッドベアから出て行ってほしいようなんだけど、俺はマッドベアを辞めるわけにはいかない。
Sojiro explained that he couldn't just quit his part-time job at the restaurant. He needed the money. Hinomi grunted a few times to indicate he was still following Sojiro's story.
つまりその女を追い出したいと。
逆だ。なんとか認めてもらいたい。隠していたけど、俺はその女の子が嫌いというわけじゃなくて。
Sojiro furrowed his brow. Hinomi could not help but laugh at his friend's lack of manly resolve in his answer. Girls were the one area where Hosuke's skills and experience were triple those of Sojiro.
なんだよ、要はナンパかよ。むしろ仲良くなりたいってわけ？
Sojiro wasn't sure how to respond. He nodded slowly without really understanding the implication of what Kinomi had said.
けど、どうすればいいのかわからない。そもそもどうやって同い年の女の子と仲良く話ができるんだ？
クラスの女どもとは話してんじゃん。あれでいいんだっつの。俺は羨ましいっつの。持ち前の天然系で押してけばいいべ。山育ちってのは希少なアイデンティティだと思うぜ。珍しいものは生かさないとさ。
そうかな。珍しいというのはあんまりいいことじゃない気がする。だいたいそもそも嫌われている場合はどうすればいいんだ？クラスのみんなは親切だけど、相手はハリセンボンだ。いや、この際ハリネズミでもいい。
そういう場合はめげなきゃいいんだよ。相手が折れるのを待つって寸法だな。トゲだけに。
Sojiro's brow sunk deeper still.
この例え話はダメだ。
He needed more concrete material to work with.
ばっか。女なんてのは機嫌を取ってればいいんだよ。まずは女の趣味とか大事にしてるもんとか聞いて、そこをフォローすればいい。自分の都合より相手の都合だ。まずは外堀から攻めろってことだな。
外堀？外回りか。
もち。その後はまあ結局はこれが一番効果的なんだけどな。袖の下ってやつ、プレゼントで釣れ。 そん時の需要と供給さえ合えば嫌われてても受け取ってもらえる。受け取らせちまえばあとはそれが義理になるってもんだ。
Hinomi then proclaimed with an odd sense of pride that this approach had resulted in only failure for him.
けど問題がある木の実。確かにご飯とかそういうのをおごってもらうと嬉しいけど、
そんな金はないってんだろ。分かってる分かってる。仕方ないね。そういうしずきくんのために一丁割のいいバイトを紹介してやろうじゃねえのよ。
They slid from the side of the classroom deeper to one corner. Two in front of the lockers where no one ever stayed for long. It would be days before Soldier realized the suggestion he was receiving was of the illegitimate kind, the kind he should not have shared with anyone. Okay. Oh, we're back. It didn't last. The slice of life, the school days didn't last. That night, dinner at the mansion was a feast of bread. Soft slices lay stacked in the center of the table, surrounded by variously colored jams. And a bowl was salad, mainly lettuce. Can you even eat this in this place? No, what I mean is, yeah, for example, I mean Alice doesn't like soju, right? Would you even? That I would not eat here. I'll just stay in my room and buy food, right? With a small plate of unevenly cut ham, Sojuro may have had no frame of reference for what an average family dinner should be, but he could tell that this was most certainly not normal. In truth, it was a first-rate case of laziness.
チョコのペースト切れたままじゃん。アリス、新しいの買っておいてって言わなかった？
今日は一日部屋にこもっていたから。第一、チョコレートを食べるのはあなただけよ。自分のものは自分で調達をするべきね。
For these two girls, however, this dinner seemed to be completely normal. They had a system of irregularly taking turns being in charge of meals, and tonight was Alice's turn. Normally, she would spend as little time and effort as possible, only truly applying herself when there was something to celebrate. Of course, Sojuro was none the wiser to Alice's unique approach to food preparation. For him, it was a plain, lackluster meal. And when it came to dinner, not saying anything to each other was another staple of their meals. The sound of cutlery, the scraping of chairs, and the tick-tock of the clock were the only things to be heard in the sunroom. Sojuro himself had already eaten. At this moment, he was watching the goings-on from the drawing room.
宗十郎、9時からアルバイトでしょ？行ってらっしゃい。私たちのことは気にしないでいいから。
ああ、じゃあ行ってくる。
Sojuro donned his coat with a goodbye nod. When Sojuro glanced again at the sunroom, he momentarily locked eyes with Alice, or so he imagined. She had been ignoring him all day, and not just refusing to talk to him, she had avoided him so much so as to not look at him all day until this very moment. He could understand if he was annoying her as the outsider in this mansion, but he felt no animosity in her gaze just now.
今の様子を見てたのかな。
Sojuro looked nervously at his surroundings for a moment before heading to the foyer. Alice only let her gaze return to normal when she was completely sure he was gone.
ああ、
めんどくさ。
Alco was appalled by Alice's brazen display. So much so her immaculate veneer of apathy crumbled.
何？献立に不満でもあるの？青子。
もちろんあるけど、いつものことだし慣れてるわよ。私が呆れてるのは、あんたの意地の悪さの方。徹底的に無視してるくせに、相手の反応を伺ってるなんてめめしくない？罠張って待ち受けるようなもんじゃない。
彼の反応なんて探ってないわ。そもそも興味がないもの。それと、今のは差別発言ね。めめしいという表現は女性軽視に過ぎるわ。今の場合なら、あなたは矛盾していると言ってちょうだい。
うわ、自覚ありときた。
Wait, what? I could care less what he does and mind how you use the word sissy. Okay. Next time, just say you're a hypocrite. Choosing not to rise to her roommate's jibe, Alice resumed eating. Alco tore off pieces of bread and ate them one by one, anger still visible on her face.
じゃあここからは、青崎青子としてじゃなく、共犯者としての質問ね。アリス的に彼を見逃していいと思える判断材料はない？
I mean, you really do, though.
ありえないけど、実は彼も魔術師でしたなんてオチであったとしても、ここに住まわせるのは容認できない？
Okay, this one I want to hear her answer.
その理由なら認めるわ。彼を許すのではなく、そんなことに気づかなかった私たちへのペナルティとして。
But imagine that if Sojiro was a mage.
そうね。今のは絶対にありえない話だけど、それと同じに絶対の結論もまたないわ。
So, yeah, we gotta wait until that happens. If that happens, though.
彼がここに住む選択を飲む場合すらあるかもしれない。気の迷いは私にだってあるのだし。
But yeah, honestly, Alice should just accept them, right? Because, as Aoko said, Sojiro might stay here for at least 3 months, right? So what are you gonna do for 3 months? Just be angry at him here? Nah.
そういうことよ。今は私との義理とかプライドで冷静を保ってるあんただけど、あいつの努力次第で少しは。
それは諦めて。彼が何をしようと無駄だから。あなたも知っていると思うけど。
Alice had never been the type to let her guard down around others. The young witch despised humans, having recreated so many of their objects and fairy tales.
そんなのあんた個人のトラウマでしょ？自分の意固地さを魔女の血統云々で棚上げするのはそれこそめめしいわ。いいじゃない。嫌いなら嫌いではっきりしてれば。私が気に食わないのはね、あんたのどっちつかずの態度よ、アリス。
どっちつかずの態度？
そう。無視するなら徹底して無視してやれって言ってるの。ガチガチに守りを固めて、そのくせ城門だけ開けて、獲物が油断して入ってきたら串刺しにする気満々とか、相棒として見てられないわ。あいつにできることなんて、閉ざされた門を開けることぐらいだっていうのに、その機会さえなくすのはどうなの？
ごめんなさい、青子。もう少し簡単に言って。その例えは、ちょっと。
Alice seemed unable to grasp Aoko's metaphor. Meanwhile, Aoko had had it up to here with her roommate's lack of self-awareness and was starting to lose her cool.
だから興味ないとか言っておきながら粉かけるなってこと。あんなにチラチラ盗み見たらあいつ変に勘違いしちゃうかもしれないでしょ。アリスはああ見えて本当は自分と仲直りしたがっているに違いない。じゃあ早速部屋に押しかけてみようとか。
そういうことになるの？
なる。少なくとも私だったらいい加減イライラして話があるなら校舎裏まで来いって決着つけかねないレベル。この毒婦。
そうだったのね。気をつけるわ。別に彼と話をする気はないんだし、私も彼を見ていたというより彼の手足を見ていたのだし。
手足ってなんで？
手足は手足よ。彼個人には思うところはないけど、あの夜の出来事はまだ記憶に新しいから。それが少しだけ気になってつい視線で追っていたのね。
あの夜って遊園地のこと？なんかしたっけあいつ。
Alice's expression soured. She still felt the sting of her defeat.
飛んだでしょ彼。レールの上から私のダンプティに向かって。
そんなこと言ってたわね。勢いでつい1メートルぐらいだから飛んじゃったとか。
Aoko had not actually seen it in person, luckily. All she knew was that the spell she had placed on Sojiro was part of the reason he survived that jump of death. Alice, on the other hand, had observed the whole scene from the clock tower. Yeah, this was when they were fighting, or Aoko was fighting the flat snark. It had only lasted an instant, but it had been burned itself into her mind's eye. More than where or when her precious moon had fallen into Aoko's hands, and Flat Snark had come tumbling down.
でもそれがどうしたの？卵の敵討ちってわけ？
ダンプティは壊れるのが仕事だから、敵討ちも何もないわ。ただ、人間の体ってあんな風に動くんだなって。
As it goes, for someone with as little human interaction as Alice, Sojiro's leap must have appeared quite remarkable. Particularly because his legs were orders of magnitude less capable than those of an animal in the forest. And yet, even with such feeble legs, with those meek arms of his, he managed to fly through the open air like a bird. To her, it was akin to the feeling city folk get when they see a wild creature in its natural habitat.
気にしないで。機会があるならもう一度見たいと思っただけ。別に彼に何を期待しているわけじゃないわ。
なるほど。アリスのプロイって大体が人型じゃないしね。単に物珍しさで見ていただけか。
Aoko sighed and released the tension from her shoulders. She was disappointed to discover that Alice's behavior stemmed from simple curiosity, like that of a child with a new toy. And Alice was in no position to take issue with her reaction. And how could she? She was not entirely sure what it was that she herself was feeling.
夕食、明日は私が作るから。試験前だってのに、こんなしょぼくれたもん食べさせられたら、一夜漬けする気合も湧かないわよ。
ご自由に。私も手が空いて助かるわ。
Night came and night went in the mansion. For better or for worse, the disturbances caused by the foreign invader had not yet caused the kettle to boil over. The next morning at 6:30, as sunlight spread across the sky, Sojiro walked to school with Aoko in the chilly morning air.
いい？洋館にいるときは極力一人にならないこと。
Try not to ever be alone in the house. It was her intention to keep Sojiro safe until he left the mansion. Nonetheless,
眠い。6時から登校とか、あんたも働き者ね。
そうでもないよ。30分仕出しを手伝うだけだし。
but honestly though, them living in the mountains like this, right? Not technically mountains, but yeah, they're living up in a hill. Like the morning air would be so nice, right? Yeah, just walking to school like this, it would feel good, I'm not gonna lie. His work ethic was a little too strong for a student entering finals.
それより青崎、無理してないか？別にこっちに付き合うことないんだぞ。
ご心配なく。生徒会室で仮眠取るから。約束だし、門までは一緒に行くわよ。
But internally, Aoko was worried. What traps did her roommate have in store for him? She could not imagine Alice had planned anything to go down in the woods, but she wanted to be safer than sorry. The least she could do was accompany Sojiro to school, that much she was firmly committed to. Any traps that presented themselves could then be dealt with on the spot. Well, not dealt with so much as destroyed, since that was Aoko's forte. But that would be enough to keep him safe for the time being.
ま、帰り道に関しては、アリスもそこまで暇ではないと信じるしかないんだけど。
ん？
If Alice was willing to put all her energy into a new trap after the first had failed, then they were as good as dead anyway. But Aoko would cross that road when she came to it. It all depended on how Alice's dislike of Sojiro really went. It would have to be enough to make her abandon her pride as a witch, something she had protected fervently until now. They reached the gate. If that were the case, Aoko knew she would never be able to keep him safe. The moment 24/7 protection became necessary was the moment she had failed. Her character led her to focus on what she could do in the here and now and ignore the rest. And this current plan of hers was her best attempt at doing right by everyone. They left behind the Kuwonji estate, and the two remained together until the residential area at the bottom of the hill, where Aoko glanced casually at Sojiro.
ところで、何か考えてる？
Surprisingly, Sojiro saw through her harmless question and sensed the bigger issue. How was he going to win Alice over? In fact, he had been thinking about that very question. According to his friend, there were 3 basic approaches he could take. One was the roundabout approach.
こいつは時間がかかるが最も自然だ。人間ってのは自分が好きなものを大切にされるとコロッと気を許しちまう。仲間意識ってやつだな。
In other words, instead of focusing on the person one wishes to win over, one should focus on their interest. I mean, how can you even know what Alice's interest is, right? She's not really like talking, or rather, I mean, so how would Sojiro know then? Ask Aoko? Maybe. It was a surprisingly mature opinion coming from Kinomi. Unfortunately, Sojiro had no idea what sort of things Alice liked. I mean, for example, if Alice was a classmate of Sojiro in school, you might notice the things she might like, right? But in this situation, it's different. Sojiro, yeah, it's different. Much harder to find out. She seemed very fond of the mansion, but what could he do to clean it for her? He sensed that would have a reverse effect. Yeah, she might get angry and say, "Why did you clean my mansion full of vines?" He had the distinct feeling she would not want him touching what was precious to her. True. The second approach was to take the inner track.
でもやっぱり本人を落とすのが一番早い。俺たちに魅力がないのなら魅力のある外付け装備に頼るのだ。
Wallet. What money? Where? Where can Sojiro get money? Look at this house. You can see who's the richer one here.
そう。プレゼントなんだよ、しずきくん。
A quick and dirty strategy, the assassin strike. I mean, you can buy food, right? Didn't Aoko and Alice was enjoying some food that Alice brought, or Aoko, I mean, bought earlier in the game, or earlier in the story? Manipulate someone's feelings with an expensive gift. To Sojiro, this sounded like his best chance. The approach was easy for him to grasp, and he appreciated its simplicity. Problem here is though, would Alice even accept that though? For example, Sojiro bought some sweets, give it to Alice. Would she take it? I don't know. However, he had the same concerns as with the first approach. A step was missing, and without this step, the plan was bound to fail. Yeah, I guess you can't say what kind of food. Let's say, I mean, yeah, what kind of gifts, what kind of food Alice would like.
あとはまあ剣ってやつ。俺にはよくわかんないけどさ、やりすぎると悪い印象を持たれるとか殿下が言ってたな。
The wait and see approach. Just wait, and things will get better, I guess.
私今落とされてるって意識させちゃダメなんだよ。付き合った後であれ私落とされたと気づかせるのが上等なんだとか。
Though Sojiro did not quite grasp the details, he understood the basic idea: don't press your luck. He knew that much was a good advice. He would have to try extremely hard to get on Alice's good side, and he could tell it would be a long process to get there. Sojiro recalled a time he had wandered inside a fox's territory in the mountains. He had left some food on the ground for the fox, and then it never bothered him again. What is considered goodwill and kindness varies from person to person. But if there is enough food or goodwill from one side, regardless of whether that goodwill is reciprocated, the other side will eventually start to feel an obligation to do so. That was the key.
大丈夫。考えてるよ。とりあえず自分にできることとかしたいことをしようと思う。
What I think here, what Sojiro might do, he might do the second one. He might buy gifts for Alice, and then Alice is gonna be like, I don't like it, and then he's gonna go to the third approach. Just my guess. It would be funny though if he did the second one. I want to see it. What Alice's reaction is gonna be.
安心してくれ。青崎に忠告されたことすらきちんと守る方針だ。
Sojiro seemed ready to face things head on. Look at Aoko's face. His answer did little to reassure Aoko. However, she found herself more concerned about his safety than ever before. Who's this?
そうなんだ。できれば安く買えるところ。
Broom? You're looking for a broom like the ones at school. What?
しずきの家、アパートよね。ほうきなんてもの必要とは思えないけど。
Is she gonna give Alice a broom because she's a witch? Is that it?
いや、ちょっと気になるところがあって掃除がしたいんだ。ゴミ袋もあると助かる。
無駄な出費はできないって言ってたくせに。
Damn, that hurt. Aren't you supposed to be broke or something?
まあどうでもいいけど、うちのでよければ使う？貸してあげましょうか？
多分1日じゃ終わらないから自分で買うよ。元から欲しかったものだし、 あると便利だよ、ホキ。
Sojiro was on his way home from his part-time job after school. It was 4 in the afternoon, 2 hours earlier than his part-time job would have normally ended. The Mad Bear's head chef had gotten in trouble with the accountant for making a student work the day for exams. The Sojiro's boss had tearfully sent him home early. And that is when it happened. The interruption to his standard schedule must have been just the shock he needed. Normally, he would meet up with Aoko after she was done with student council affairs and go home with her. Look at Aoko. However, today Sojiro was asking the other students who worked at the same place if they knew any shops in the area where he could buy a broom.
田舎者の趣味って理解不能ね。推強すぎ。うちの近くにまっずいラーメン屋あるでしょ。あそこの通りを終わりまで行けば起きたって金物店がある。
The nasty ramen place near school.
一式揃えるなら西口のホームセンターより安く上がるわ。どうでもいいけど、私のチャリ使う？どうせ試験明けまで使わないし。
Soldier's eyes lit up as he had met his savior, but biking up a hill to the mansion, let alone with the package to carry, was not pretty. Yeah. I'd rather walk, man. I think it's much harder to bike uphill.
いや、自転車には乗ってみたいけど、今回は遠慮するよ。じゃあ、また明日、学校で。
Saying farewell to his coworkers, he headed to the hardware store. He needed a cheap and sturdy broom or bamboo broom and a large dustpan to go with it. And if possible, a pushcart and stick for a splint would have been nice too. As it happened, Soldier wanted quite a few things. But yeah, who's that girl though? We didn't even get a name. Alice returned to her work after waking from her nap. The Kuonji estate had an annex that housed a library. Let me see this again. Okay. The library was filled with books handed down to her from her mother, so it was Alice's territory, such that even Aoko dared not enter. If the mansion was a witch's abode left behind by the times, the library was a fairy tale quarters lost to the ages. It was a natural sanctuary for the young witch who could command ploys to do her bidding. She relied on her memory to recall the location of each book on the many shelves. And then she saw it. Upon raising her head, she was met with the most unusual of sights. Her elegant eyebrows bristled in distaste. From that moment on, she failed to accomplish anything she had planned for that day. She was instead forced to stare at the strange sight outside her window, eyebrows fixed in that position until the sun set. Was she so Sojiro? Nighttime. Well, moving into the grand mansion on the hill had not brought any major changes to Sojiro's day-to-day schedule. He woke up, went to his part-time job, ate breakfast, and went to school. Classes came and went, still strange and new, broken up by rare and brief moments of rest until the school day ended. He left school, went to his part-time job, slept, woke up, and studied for exams. A modest life, or a modest young man, continuing every day in the same fashion despite his best efforts to change his fortune. But nothing ever really changes. Whether Aoko was by his side in the mansion, as was frequently the case, or whether Alice was making him drink some potion she prepared before going to bed. The former was an attempt by Aoko to make him feel better. The latter was some attempt to keep him safe even if he did not fully appreciate it. Then one day, a day like any other, while Sojiro was pouring himself some tea, as he worried over the lack of change in his life,
そういえば
his relationship with Alice was the same as ever, but there was one major change. This morning, he was drinking black tea instead of green. Though there were all sorts of different types of tea to be found in the kitchen, a newcomer to the world of tea like Sojiro could not tell one of them from the next. Naturally, his tea-making skills were limited to tea bags, one which he placed his cup before returning to the dining table. Alice and Aoko were already seated. The two were eating in silence. In this household, it was everyone for themselves when it came to breakfast. The diplomatic description of their breakfast would be simple. The more accurate description would be 2 slices of stale bread prepared in seconds. Aoko exchanged a word or two with Alice, took a sip of tea, and stood up from her seat. Since it was winter break for the high schooler Alice, she returned to her room after eating as she normally did, while Aoko headed to the front door, shoes in hand, ready for school. After hurriedly clearing the table, Sojiro rushed out the door after Aoko. Together, they walked down the long hill in the direction of school. They had spent 3 days following this very simple routine.
ところで、あれから動きはあった？
You know who? Was that Voldemort? School had ended and evening had arrived. Buttered bread roll in one hand, Alice replied with a simple silent shake of her head.
そう。ならあっちも次の手を考えているんでしょうね。魔術師本体の居場所は見当ついてる？
Her response was exactly the same. Without showing the slightest of dejection, she continued to chew the roll and took a stab at her salad.
そう。私も試験が終わったら手伝うから、それまで悪いけど一人でやってて。今日からあのバカを一夜漬けにしなくちゃいけないんで余裕ないの。
Alice's face grew dour as if she had something to get off her chest.
問題ないでしょ？アリスはもう休みに入ってるんだから、一日全部使えるじゃない。
Alice was indeed on vacation and could spend all day, every day on her work as a mage. Yet she had spent the past few days holed up in the library instead. She was hardly devoting herself to dealing with the challenger, as Aoko put it.
アリス？聞いてる？
わかってる。今夜からそっちもやるから。
What? Sighing, she stood up. What was bothering Alice and what was it she wanted to say? What did she say? Okay. What had she been doing only 2 hours earlier? The young witch took her leave from the breakfast table without offering a single clue. Okay, so let us take a little break here. But yeah, I guess normal days are coming for now, or is happening right now, is what I'm saying. Sojiro trying to fit in, I guess. Trying to, win Alice over. Not win Alice over, but what I mean is trying to make Alice, I guess, accept him, right? Even just a little bit. But I wonder though, I actually thought he was gonna give Alice the broom. I thought he was gonna buy it for her. But maybe he just bought it for himself. But yeah, he did say that he was gonna buy some more extra things, right? Maybe he just wanted to be... Yeah, maybe he just wanted to clean the mansion a little bit, right? While he was there. Not fully, but... Yeah, just clean it up. Because they're letting... Not letting him. They're technically saying that he needs to be there, right? But nice though. We see our friends again, our Sojourner's friends, and then we have another new classmate that we saw earlier, the girl, right? What's her name? We don't know yet. But yeah, we didn't even see Toby Maru again. Vice President. It's been a while. I want to see those guys again. Hopefully we see them maybe next episode, as yeah, we're back to normal for now, right? And it's nice because back then when we had the conversations with Toby Maru, it was pretty good, honestly. It was fun. And it was funny as well. So anyways, we're gonna continue this and do more of Witch on the Holy Night in the next one. So I'll just see you then, guys. Bye bye.